Another day, another deplatforming. This is what happens all over the media, and no one's safe at this point. I mean, Destiny's one of those centrist guys. He's not really right or extreme right. I know a lot of people always goes, "It can't happen to me," but it definitely can. And that's why we're kind of careful on this channel with what we say a little bit. I try to keep it real, but I also try to phrase things very carefully. What can you do? Whew, it's really sad to watch, but I also expect it to happen all the time now. My name is John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author and award-winning comic creator. I have been beating the drum about cancel culture and about big tech for years. For years! And I have a high school girl on the Crusades, my manga comic, which is 4 days away from closing. This is the end of it. So if you've not gotten in on this campaign, please back this weekend. Support the channel, support all we're doing. We're not just complaining about these systems. We are actually creating books, creating culture, creating the difference in what we perceive of a horrible, horrible corporate entertainment culture, which has gone far too far. So check that out. The link's in the description below, and I appreciate everybody who's back so far. Thank you very much. All right. Destiny confirms Twitch ban is permanent after breaking hateful conduct rules. Yeah, they always go on the hateful conduct rules. Now, I read this to try to figure out what was going on with this whole situation. And what's happened is these corporations have gotten a lot slimier over the past several years. They've learned if they tell you why they ban you, they open themselves up to tortious interference and libel lawsuits, because most of the time what they tell you they're banning you for, you didn't actually do. You didn't actually have any problem with their terms of service, and they've made their terms of service so evil and so obscure at this point that it solely exists just to harass people on one side of the political persuasion, it seems. So this is what's happened. Back in the day, you might get a ban and they might say, well, you talked about this trans person, burp, 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 burp. And Destiny would go on and be like, okay, well, I just had a debate on my stream, of people talking about whether a trans male swimmer or trans female, whatever they are, I can't keep up, should be competing with actual women. Can I say that? I don't know. I just did. So, and he has that debate. And of course, you're not even allowed to debate topics. That's kind of the way that our cancel culture has gone over the last several years. It's really awful and it's really disgusting that one side gets to say whatever they want, gets to harass people all day long. They get to create Discord armies to go mass report people, to get people flagged falsely on platforms. Heck, I was banned from Indiegogo because of one of these idiots who was false flagging me with the help of some people who were giving him bad legal advice. I mean, it's ridiculous. But it's just going further. Nowadays, they just say, you violated our terms of service. And they say what term it was or whatnot. For me, it was, quote, a privacy violation. For Destiny, it was, quote, the hateful conduct. And then you email them and you're like, you try to be a normal person. You try to be rational with them because you're like, okay, I'm a normal person. But again, these are SJWs you're dealing with. You can't have a rational conversation. So you ask, how did I violate the hateful conduct? What did I do? I'm obviously trying to, like, in good faith, work with you. And they go, please refer to the terms of service. So I go, okay, well, if I refer to the terms of service, I see this. So what was the actual situation? We can't say that. We're not, it's like, we're not allowed to talk to you. It's like, oh, well, wait, okay. So you unilaterally just make these decisions. You screw with your customers, and we have no recourse whatsoever under these systems. It's absolutely terrible. It is a violation of just consumer trust. It's a violation of our free speech rights. It is something that the corporations have really created a terrible, terrible situation in our country over the last 10, maybe 20 years. And of course, you get the libertarians out there and they go, it's not free speech. It's only free speech if the government violates it. Well, the corporations are so tied in with the government and have so much power over the public sphere at this point that, yes, it is actually the free speech situations. Yes, this is actually the new public square, which is the internet, and they do have a responsibility to follow our Constitution, frankly. It's really upsetting. But people have reacted to this, like you would imagine, on Twitter, a bunch of the SJWs going wild, and they're, of course, talking about how it's great and how he's a hateful, evil person, etc. eighth ban evasion, whatever that means. And normal people are responding a little differently. Got Ethan Ralph talking about this, and he says, in the wake of the Unjust Destiny ban, let me reiterate that Twitch sucks. Absolutely. You want to talk about violation of their terms of service? Just go on and look at the Twitch thoughts on there, who are basically selling their porn, and they're just allowed to do so. It's really sickening. But it's not only Twitch. All of these platforms that have robbed creators for well over a decade now need to go the way of the dinosaur. Their model of theft and disrespect is garbage. 100% agree with that. And even though Ethan Ralph is really not friendly with Gator anymore, they basically have the same ideas on this. Gator says, I am so fucking sick of this shit and how these goddamn tech companies are filled to the effing brim with literal effing psychopaths that wield these bullshit effing terms of service because normal people are tired of the alphabet mafia horseshit. Normalize being normal. I like that. These people are self-important narcissists that are comically unable to take criticism and for some reason infest the tech world and use their access to F over anyone that thinks they're effing weird and disturbed. I don't even like Destiny, but if he's getting effed over this, everybody else has no fucking chance. And I tried to not swear as best as I could, but I'm not good at that. I'm sorry. I did some of it. But 100% agree with Gator on this. Again, Destiny's not a polarizing political figure. He's just a middle-of-the-road kind of guy. So it really, really speaks volumes to how far they're willing to go to just silence anybody at this point. And silence everybody at this point. Silence normal people at this point. It's really, really scary, and I hope it stops. Now, the one thing we can do is, of course, decentralize. There's lots of other platforms. I attempted to stream on Twitch a couple of times, and I just gave up on it. I wasn't really getting much of an audience there compared to here. But there's a lot of alternatives out there. I make sure all of my videos get re-uploaded and mirrored on several different sites. And, at some point, we're going to have to decentralize. I mean, of course, we've centralized everything onto Twitter, onto YouTube, onto Facebook or whatnot for too long. And, breaking away into smaller groups that are decentralized on Odyssey or Rumble or Gab, is not a bad thing at the end of the day. But it's harder for, of course, a content creator like me because I'm trying to get the word out there about my books to as many people as possible. So decentralize, don't rely completely on one platform. That is, of course, the lesson here. But, it also takes users to really use those platforms. I've been on Minds and MeWe for social media also. Those don't really get me much traction. Nobody's really hanging out over there. And that makes it kind of hard. Gab's doing a little bit better on that front, but I'd be open to suggestions on what to do to make those platforms a little more viable. Be something interesting we all need to discuss and figure out, because at the end of the day, we do make a lot more money based on the bigger platforms. And when we switch to littler platforms, it's something that's actually not as useful for our business. And if we did it completely, we'd disappear. I know at one point there was a big hubaloo over Patreon, and there still is sometimes to some degree. And I set up a subscribe star because everybody else told me, go over there and set up Patreon. Well, I did that, and my people didn't really move over. And so if that's going to happen, and, Patreon's the site that people use, it doesn't really make sense as a content creator to really push a platform where nobody's going to be, of course, financially supporting. So how do we do it? I don't know. I don't really have a great answer, but I do know that we do need to get the word out about people like Destiny getting banned, and this kind of thing needs to stop. All right. Hit that like and subscribe button. Love to hear from you in the comments down below, and we'll be back soon.